Alright, so for this question, we have a 3 kilogram toy car that is moving to the right with a speed of 1.80 meters per second without friction. And the question is, if it experiences an impulse of -4, what is the object's speed and direction after the impulse occurs? So our impulse is -4, and another formula we have is our impulse is equal to change in momentum, and that our impulse is basically equal to a final momentum, subtract our initial momentum. Something to understand is our momentum is basically going to be equal to the mass times velocity. Now, our change in momentum, remember how we derived that formula over there, is just we just turn our change in momentum into the final momentum, subtracting your initial momentum. Now let's get to actually solving this question over here. So we're going to start by finding our initial momentum, right? So to do that, we're going to be multiplying our mass multiplied by our velocity initial. And that's going to be 3 kilograms multiplied by 1.80 meters per second. And when you do this calculation, you should get an answer of 5.4 kilograms multiplied by meters over seconds. So that should be your initial momentum. Now, what you need to be doing with your initial momentum is you need to be plugging it into our equation that we labeled with 1. And since we have our impulse and our initial momentum, we're going to be isolating for our final momentum because we need to see the object's speed and direction after the impulse occurs. So we're going to do some basic algebra here and move our initial momentum to the other side. And in that case, we're going to be isolating for our final momentum. So for our I, let's plug in -4. And for our initial momentum, let's plug in 5.4 kilograms meters per second, which we've calculated. And doing this will give us an answer of 1.4 kilograms multiplied by meters over seconds. Now what we need to be doing is, since we know our momentum final, we need to isolate for our final velocity. So we're just going to do a final momentum divided by our mass, which will give us our final velocity on its own. Now I'm going to put my calculations in this blue box over here. And just to reiterate, our mass is going to be staying at 3.00 kilograms. It is constant. And when we do our calculations, when we do 1.4 divided by 3.00, we should get a final velocity value of 0.47 meters per second. And that is the final velocity of the toy car. And it asks what direction does it go, and since our velocity is positive, we can state that our object is going to be moving in towards the right and at the speed of 0.47 meters per second. And that is all. Have a good day.